So, Mike,
Yeah,
how long have you been in Belmont?
9 years.
9 years. Where were you before?
So about a year in Medford, and um, and then before that in the Washington D.C. area, which includes, frankly, Maryland and Virginia, and the last place that we were living before moving to this area was in Virginia.
But you've been pretty active with the government, whether it's on the warrant committee or being appointed and then elected to the school committee.
Well, so I was looking for a way to be involved in the community, and frankly, with my I think I have something like 22, almost 23 years of experience at the Office of Management and Budget, which is the White House budget agency. I kind of missed being involved in the budget process, and I thought, wow, I could really be helpful in this community. But we do things a little bit differently here than
I
in
would guess.
many other places.
Where do you stand on the $8.4 million override and why?
Well, I think we definitely need it. If you've paid attention to the budget development process in Belmont, and frankly, it's a difficult thing to figure out what you're supposed to pay attention to. We don't make it the easiest, but I have watched most of the warrant committee meetings, and I've followed some of the select board meetings, school committee meetings, and then the budget summits. It's an awful lot of meetings that you have to follow to be really knowledgeable. But basically, I mean, I think the facts are fairly undeniable that we will have to go into deep layoffs if we do not pass the override. And, I think there are things that we can do in the future to mitigate the need for some future overrides, but, we're going to have a massive reduction in town and school services. That's really going to hurt if we don't pass this override.
What is the most important role of the town moderator in today's town government?
So I see two very important roles for the town moderator. One is running town meeting, and by running town meeting, I actually mean being involved in the health of town meeting year round. And the other thing is committee appointments. The moderator makes appointments for the entire warrant committee, the majority of the comprehensive capital budget committee, the entire bylaw review committee, and all of the building committees that we have, including the permanent building committee, the middle and high school building committee, the library building committee, and the rink building committee. Obviously these appointments are important, and I think we have to be concerned about the process, and having some basic transparency around these kinds of appointments as well.
So, what changes would you make as town moderator?
So, the first thing that I just want to point out, and this is with respect to town meeting, I am really concerned about the health of town meeting. If you look at the ballot, four of our 8 precincts are completely non-competitive. If you got your 25 signatures to get on the ballot, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, the election almost doesn't matter. You're in, unless somebody wages a successful write-in campaign, which
They're pretty difficult.
difficult if so in 3 precincts you have exactly enough people running for the number of town.
Yeah, there's 12 people running for 12 slots, basically.
Right. In 1 precinct, we're short. I don't recall whether it was 1 or 2 candidates. So a write-in candidacy could work there, but and if you look at the other 4 precincts, it's a little bit better, but not much better. You know, there isn't a lot of competition for seats, and I think the moderator has to be concerned about the health. In fact, you know, when I contrast this to 8 years ago when I first ran for town meeting, there was an awful lot of competition, and frankly, I was a newcomer to town meeting, and I only won by one vote. But you know, there was a lot more competition then than there is now, and so I see a risk of declining interest, a risk of declining desire to be involved, to run for town meeting, or perhaps it's, you know, because town changes over time, perhaps it's also ignorance about the importance of town meeting. And in fact, you know, as I've been out canvassing, you know, I do encounter some transplants from places other than the Northeast. They don't know what town meeting is. They really don't. This is something that's unique to northeastern states, and frankly, it was unique to me when I first moved to town. But so a lot more education and outreach on the part of the moderator is absolutely important for raising interest in the profile of town meeting, and ensuring that we have ultimately, you know, a representative town meeting, because we have lots of people running, and you know, and people would have a choice of who they vote for. I think there's some need for reports to be given in front of town meeting, but frankly,
Do they have to be a half hour long?
no, they don't. They don't. And frankly, I think that some of the reporting that's done at town meeting, we can do this in advance. We can, you know, we can tape remarks that people want to give and share them with town meeting members. I also think that part of running a better town meeting is having the moderator actively engaged in helping to make sure that we have precinct caucuses before town meeting. We can do some of this reporting at those precinct caucuses, but you know, people need to be prepared for town meeting, and so there is a lot of work that the moderator can be doing in advance of town meeting to make sure that town meeting members are as, you know, as well informed as possible. And you still will have some people that will show up not having prepared, but we can reduce that number. Absolutely. I mean, it's impossible for the moderator to know everyone in town. Either the current moderator, or frankly, you know, if I were elected, I don't know everybody in town. But I think we can modify the process to ensure that we have more transparency, as well as you know, some form of public input on appointments before they're made. So one of the things that I'm interested in doing is standing up a moderator's advisory committee composed of town meeting members that could meet under open meeting law and, you know, discuss potential appointees, you know, talk about the qualifications, talk about people's interests before they're appointed, do so in a public forum, you know, so that people have an opportunity to know, you know, what are the skills, what are the background, what's the interests of the people that the moderator might be considering appointing before those appointments are made. And you know, another benefit of standing up this kind of committee is that you have an additional group of people who can also be accessed to help be doing the work to reach out to potential candidates to ensure that we have more representative uh, or appointees to our committees who are potentially more representative of the community at large. Proportionally, you see more homeowners participating in town meeting than renters. You see, frankly, older residents participating more often than parents. And, town meeting doesn't quite reflect the diversity that we have in Belmont. Although, things obviously are changing over time, but we can do more, I think, to reach out to residents, and attempt to bring town meeting forward a little bit more in terms of just how representative it is of the greater diversity that we have in Belmont. Mm-hmm. Well, so when I think about the future of Belmont, I am, one of the things that's foremost in my mind is sustainability of our financial situation. And I don't believe that, what we have now, we have a tremendous mismatch between the revenue that we can expect with no appreciable change in things like commercial development, and the cost of running government, the cost of running our town departments, police and fire, the library, our school system. And, frankly, we have to be focused on the revenue side of the budget as much as we're focused on the expenditure side. And this is an area in which, you're probably asking yourself, okay, so, what does a moderator have to do with the budget? Well, frankly, not a great deal, except that the moderator does make appointments to the warrant committee. And I will charge my appointees, I will make sure that my appointees are as interested in, working on the revenue side of the budget as the expenditure side. And there are things both small and large that the warrant committee could be doing to help ultimately tilt the equation in the long run, so that we have more revenue. And just one example of a small thing, the warrant committee could assemble a list of the various fees and charges that the town makes for services, the fines, the penalties, the parking tickets, and take a look at inflation adjustment, because we typically do not adjust these things for inflation. Well, coming off of a high inflation period, there's an opportunity for boosting revenue, aligning it with today's costs, for the various services that the town provides. If we're talking about fines and penalties, aligning those with, how the value of the dollar has changed over time. That's a small thing. That won't cure our financial woes, but it would boost revenue a little bit, and appreciably. It's an example of the kind of thing that could really help. But that's sort of what I put on the list of the small things. Big things. Some of the select board candidates are talking a great deal about commercial development, and I think it's appropriate because, frankly, that's where we're going to see the fix in our long-term financial situation, if we can attract more commercial development to the town. And so there are a number of things that the warrant committee could be doing, and something that I would be interested in having my appointees pursue, and that's doing work to assemble a comprehensive review of the impediments and obstacles to commercial development in Belmont. And there are many, but there are also opportunities, and they have to also be analyzing the opportunities And, you know, the warrant committee is not going to be, you know, on its own, the warrant committee is not going to be reaching out to potential developers and businesses, but, you know, we could use this information to help with the goal of improving commercial development. And another small thing that could be done is that, you know, we're in deep need, and some members of the select board have been talking about this for a number of years. We are in deep need of, you know, hiring someone in the town to do business development work, business recruitment.
And is that something that a town moderator can take on?
No, the moderator can't take it on. The warrant committee can. The moderator appoints the warrant committee.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike.
Well, thank you.